The above prevailing problems are arguably bad in the Asia-Pacific, thanks to the error of what is easily described as the world's most advanced missile program, carefully developed over decades in China, a challenge that is getting worse by the day for force planners. American C. Indeed, a recent report from the Center for a New American Century (CNAS) points to the challenge quite clearly, but with new and even more dangerous changes. The construction of Chinese islands in the South China Sea only adds to the problem. Even American Marine troops starting to guard the area, they began deploying several tools such as submarines and aircraft carriers to protect the area. This condition has further exacerbated the state of relations between China and America in power in the South China Sea. To world politics and strategy. For fun, let's go narrow and look at naval architecture. That vintage World War II dreadnoughts could play an important part in an ultramodern regional war reveals principles of ship design useful to fleet designers today. Now, battleships are far from the only hulls ever to be repurposed for new times and surroundings. In fact, the aircraft carrier USS Midway, a ship commissioned days after World War II that also deployed for combat duty against Iraq 45 years later, is reputedly the most modified ship of war in history. Among other things, Midway was refitted with the now familiar angled flight deck, which boosts a flatop's ability to launch and recover aircraft at the same time while giving the flight deck a trapezoidal look compared to World War II carriers bearing straight rectangular decks. Its angled deck fitted Midway for air operations throughout the Cold War and a tad beyond. That's a successful design. What should naval architects incorporate into a design to guarantee its longevity amid change? Versatility should be their watchword. It's possible to experiment with versatile hulls, subtracting, adding, or recombining sensors, weapons, and embarked aircraft to keep the ship combat relevant in a variety of circumstances. First of all, and most obviously, designers should equip vessels with likely to remain pertinent even as the martial seascape metamorphoses around them, as it will. Battleships were gunships. They sported mixed armaments ranging from massive 16-inch main guns capable of flinging projectiles weighing the same as a VW Bug over 20 miles. Downrange, down to 5-inch guns for surface action and anti-air duty at middle ranges, down to light anti-aircraft guns of various calibers. Despite their lavish main and secondary gun batteries, Iowa-class battleships like Wisconsin underwent their first repurposing as soon as they made their debut. The Japanese carrier air raid on Pearl Harbor underlined how naval warfare had changed by 1941. Battleships brought heavy long-distance firepower to a gunfight, carriers brought ultra-long-range precision firepower in the form of bombers and torpedo planes equipped with guidance systems known as pilots. It was hard for battleships to compete with this combination of aviation technology and airmanship. Seldom in the air age could a battlewagon get within reach of hostile capital ships to duke it out, the way naval strategists had long prescribed. Yet the Iowa-class vessels boasted massive anti-aircraft capability, along with propulsion plants that drove them through the water fast enough to keep up with carrier task forces. Their technical characteristics made them useful escort ships in the Pacific. They also found new life as gunfire support ships. They would loiter offshore, showering Japanese-held islands with projectiles to soften up the defenders before U.S. Marine and Army troops risked amphibious landings. Wisconsin and Missouri reprised their role as shore bombardment platforms in the Gulf.